have anything specific you want to talk about?
I did have an idea on the way up.
Okay.
I feel like I just recently crossed an important threshold in my off-season training, which was like I no longer just feel like a weirdo out in the park running around and stuff. Like I feel like I'm like an actual athlete preparing to play a sport.
Why? What made you come to that realization?
I don't think it was not
Because you are still technically a weirdo out at the park,
right? Well, that's all I've ever been, right?
Well, no, we've worked in a gym or
right. I'm just
training facility,
correct. But as far as working out on my own, yeah, I mean, I don't. Hold on, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here for a second. Yeah, I think there's just like when you stop working out with a group and stuff, or like at an actual place, it's like, yeah, like a little bit of you lose some of like the validity of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like what am I actually doing here? Like,
right.
I
always kind of struggled. I mean, when we were living downtown, like last year, we were both kind of go to that park to like work on our own. I've always struggled in that setting. Like I'm a very confident person, but I was very aware of, I thought how ridiculous I looked in this setting. Because also, I don't know if you're the same way, but I do some things that, part of a workout, maybe all pictures or whatnot, where it's like, with no context behind it, you'd be like, why is this person doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my style of working out is not your typical style, and also probably stereotypically does not match like my size or what someone would expect me to be doing. I even struggle like when I'm in a gym and like the different stuff I'm doing, because it's specific movements to target specific muscles that are smaller for pictures. So obviously you're using smaller weights, and I do get a lot of like, why is this 6'6", 260-pound guy, carrying these like 10-pound dumbbells around? What could he possibly be doing with those 10-pound dumbbells?
Yeah.
And a lot. The answer is a lot. So I always struggled kind of in that setting anyway, because I did feel like people are looking at me and they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah. Is that the same now as it's always been, or have you kind of gotten like more comfortable with that?
I would say I've gotten more comfortable, because ultimately I just don't care. I know that the stuff I'm doing is helping me, and ultimately I don't care what other people think of me. Yeah. But like, yeah, there are times where like, or even like sometimes when I would be like coming back from an injury, and you're like ramping up, like part of me would have this thought in my head of like, I almost wanted to tell the person next to me, just so like I'm coming back from like an injury right now. I can actually bench more than this normally.
Right.
Or I can actually do more. But then I was like, yeah, why does it matter? Yeah. Because ultimately we're all just there, trying to get better. And you shouldn't concern yourself with other people, what they're doing.
But also, what's weird is like when I'm at the gym and stuff, like I don't really pay that much attention to what other people are doing unless I think it's awesome.
Right.
Like if like somebody's like, I don't know, like lifting a bunch of weight or doing like a really cool like athletic looking move, and I'll be like damn, that's cool, and pay attention to that. Otherwise I don't really care what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, like I feel like everybody knows exactly what I'm doing. Right. or is like fascinated by it, which is I'm sure just isn't the case.
Because I feel like I'd say, like, I think there is somewhat of a stereotype, people that have our size and stature, like there's almost like an expectation, like, oh wait, maybe this guy's about to throw some weight around here. Like I did have one the other day where like I always had a problem with my pecs being really tight. Mm-hmm. So like I don't like to bench a lot, and like the way I was taught to kind of do it is do more reps, higher or lower weight, more reps, and kind of mix in stretching with it. So I was like doing that, and I was feeling good, and I did, like, the guy next to me on the incline bench was like, no disrespect, but was an older gentleman, that had more weight. And there was a part of me I did almost like feel like I needed to explain myself, which is not right. It's not fair. Right. It's not who cares. But like there was that moment of like, I know he's not even looking at me, but I feel like he's judging me right now.
Yeah, I get locked in. I get locked in competition, one-on-one competitions all the time at the gym that like other people don't know they're in.
Right. We've talked about that just throughout our days. Yeah. We do that. Like I do that. Like just I'm at the grocery store and
Yeah.
Me and another person are pushing our cart towards the checkout line. Like, I'm going to beat them there.
Yeah.
You know, like this person's trying to race right now. Like that person probably has no idea I even exist. So it's probably the same thing. But no, I would say overall, I'm very comfortable with the work that I put in at the gym because I know it's helping me. It's not meant to help anyone else,
Right?
But me. So
love that.
Okay, nothing really came to mind off of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't necessarily have anything.
Yeah. I was just gonna add into the competitive part, just like my number one place has been the sauna so far, which I feel like is
I'm a big sauna guy.
You like the sauna? Yeah. So like if someone will walk in, you know, halfway through the time that I'm sitting in there, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not leaving until they get out.
I do the exact same shit. It's unbelievable. Or because I've done it where like I'll walk in and somebody else will be there, and like
there's no way I'm walking in and walking out while someone has been in there the whole time.
Yeah, so I'll walk in, someone's been there, and then like, you know, I like to do about 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know how long you do it. I try not to do too long. And like, so I feel like I've done my time, but I'm like, if they were in here before me, I can't leave before them.
Right.
You know? So I'm in this. I'm in this until they decide they get up, you know?
Yeah.
I'd love to believe that they are also, you know, like who can stay in here longer. I know they're not.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I definitely do.
I hope they are every time.
Right.
Like there's somewhere I know like where you know, you sneak a glance and you see like some people struggle. It's like, okay, you're in this with me.
Yeah. I do love the sauna though.
Yeah.
I'm a big sauna guy. Because one, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I really like it. Mm-hmm. But two, I also love that feeling of post-workout being like drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Being like I really put work in.
Yeah.
And obviously the goal is to have that happen during a workout. But if it doesn't, it'll happen going into the sauna. Yeah. So then regardless, I get that good feeling of like
the eye wash benefits of the sauna are right. There might not be a better like more return. Right.
Yeah. Big sauna guy. MLB free agency.
Okay, what we got?
That's I mean nothing. I saw Eduardo Rodriguez. I think he was the first guy I saw sign kind of a big contract, sign with the Tigers.
Okay.
Not the most exciting thing in the world. Yeah. It seems like every year there's kind of that one surprise team that seems to kind of really try to spend some money and go after it. It's like the White Sox were kind of that team either last year or a couple years ago. Right. And I saw that after the Tigers signed Eduardo Rodriguez, who, regardless of what you think of that signing, it was a decent amount of money, and I saw that they were going hard after like Carlos Correa and like some of the bigger names. So I was like, are the Tigers going to be that team that just tries to like, you know, they've been bad for a while now? Is the owner now being like, go get people?
It's go time.
Yeah. Just for the headlines almost. You know, like let's look like we're. I need to see that we're trying to, because I think a lot of it too is like obviously you want to make your team better, but the other part of it is like we need to show that we're actually like going for this type of thing. Right. And so,
some teams do that. Some teams, I don't know, I guess every team does that at some point. Right. It's about how long it takes in between. You know, for some people it's 2 years. For some teams it's a decade.
Well, because like a team like that, like when you get to free agency, who's been bad, it's like, because I will always stand by. You know, there's always that argument when players they go sign somewhere for the most possible money and they might not be a good team. It's like, oh, they don't care about winning. You know, they just want the most money. I personally believe you dedicate your life to this game. You're competitive on some level. You want to win. Mm-hmm. So like in those situations, like being like the first one, like being like the first domino to fall, essentially. Like, okay, just me alone. Let's take Carlos Correa, for instance. Like him being like, I'm going to if Carlos Correa goes to the Tigers, I don't think that makes the Tigers a contender.
Right.
But the belief is that if Carlos Correa goes, he's like that will then more people will start to go. But like I always feel like that's where, you know, in the NBA, it's like you talk with each other and you all kind of get on the same page.
Right.
Where it's like in baseball, it seems a little bit more like you kind of have to just who's going to be the first one to go to kind of this bad team and try to, be built around. I know obviously the money is a big part of it, but I always think that's kind of interesting. Is that like, then you go, wow, they got that guy. Oh, maybe they're building something I want to be a part of. So
right.
And it changes the narrative kind of around a team that hasn't been very good for a while.
Yeah. You're excited for Detroit's?
No, I'm not. But I think I've always said I think one of the biggest problems with Major League Baseball is they do not do a good job of marketing their free agency period. I think you look at a lot of the basketball and football and those leagues, one of the ways they're more successful in creating intrigue is just in their free agency process. It starts at this time, at this hour, and a lot of stuff happens like within the first couple of days, so it makes people like excited for that time. Whereas baseball, it's very kind of open-ended. I think it starts like 5 days after the World Series. Like there's been some guys that sign. There's all these different things that go into it. Some of the bigger names don't sign for like months.
Right.
So like there's not a lot of like, I think it would be cool if there was something that like incentivized signing guys like within the first week or so of free agency. That like it created more like, he's talking to this team and there's 5 teams still in the mix, and maybe you're checking your phone. Is tonight going to be the night that Correa decides or Max Scherzer decides or whatnot? So I don't know. I always thought that's a place that they're lacking. But I think there's a lot of names of free agency from guys that are going into free agency in baseball this year that are very intriguing in seeing where they're going to go.
Yeah, I don't know. My understanding was that baseball was kind of like nobody wanted to go into free agency anymore.
Yeah. So why do you think that?
I don't know. Just a lot of like, I don't know. I just started paying attention to these things more, but I feel like you see more in baseball, like the extensions.
Right.
Like I don't feel like you get as many of those in basketball and football.
Yeah. It's a good point. Probably more in like football than in basketball. But you're right. Basketball definitely. I mean, you become a free agent in basketball, it seems like everyone gets paid.
Yeah. Right.
Because they have a cap floor. So that they're one of, I think, the only leagues that has a cap floor. Mm-hmm. So you have to. So some teams are like, we just got to give money to somebody,
right?
And you got like a 7th man off the bench on a team that's a free agent. It's like, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just like basketball is like 12 o'clock on this date it starts, and within like 10 hours, big stuff is happening, and I just feel like that creates like intrigue. And same thing with football, like the negotiation time. I think there's like a when you can start negotiating, then like there's a couple days later when it officially starts. But like it just like a lot of stuff happens right away. I think too much in baseball, you're getting to spring training, and sometimes you have big names that still haven't signed with the team. You're like, what's going on here? And like I'm not going to follow along for 3 months. As you sort of just like, I guess just let me know whenever this person decides, or I don't know. But I just feel like there's a lot. There seems to me to be more big names this year than I feel like there's been in the past.
What are so you got Correa?
You got Scherzer, you got Corey Seager.
I was going to say Seager.
You got Verlander. I know he's coming off of injury.
They're saying he's putting up impressive numbers in bullpens.
I saw that. Like that. Yeah, someone said he was throwing 97 in a pen the other day.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for him.
As a hitter, I'm pretty envious of that pitchers can basically do that as like and get signed. Like it's cool for pitchers, and like especially guys who are in a position similar to me where it's like I can put up Rapsodo numbers,
right,
send them to teams and be like really evaluated based on that,
right.
Whereas
that's a good point.
Like
but also I mean, not all pitchers can do that. I mean, Verlander it's a little bit different because Verlander it's easier in a guy like that where it's like, yeah, our only question is if you're healthy or not.
Right.
So once you show us you're healthy, obviously we know you can pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. Even guys, you hit a certain velo number or Rapsodo number, and even lesser guys can get signed that way. Yeah. That's true. There's not something as much for hitters, but in certain cases like that one where it's just like, yeah, we just need to make sure you're healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe be the equivalent to a big time hitter, just like, yeah, we just need to see you. I'm sure if like Mike Trout was a free agent right now, I'm sure with like his injuries, you could be like, yeah, let's see you take BP. As long as the ball's kind of coming off your bat the same way.
But Mike Trout's what? Mike Trout's under 30.
He's 30 years old.
Is he 30 years old? Yeah. But I'm thinking more like like if Albert Pujols right? Like if he wanted to show guy, which he's in Dominican right now,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
know.
But it's like, yeah, that's what you have to
Teammate
do.
of ex guest David Kubiak.
Oh, is Kubiak
Yeah.
it? That's Esco.
I don't know the team, but he posted something recently, like the lineup
on
of
that
him
team,
starting,
right?
and it was like Albert Pujols was in.
That's
That's
so
pretty
sick.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's what you that's what Hunter Pence did.
Right.
That's kind of what you have to do if you're a hitter. You have to go to a league and prove that it plays.
Right. That's true.
Whereas like a pitcher, you just find a mound somewhere and like that plays, which is just that's just that's just the difference between hitting and pitching. Hitters need a pitcher to prove that you can hit.
That's a good point. But and I think Kyle Seager is also a free agent.
Wasn't there questions as to I guess because I remember at the end of the year at that last game last year in Seattle, they had like an emotional.
I think it was like one of those where thank you for everything, but we're not resigning.
It doesn't look like
maybe
he's coming back to
mutually he
Seattle.
was like, yeah, I don't want to come back. I want to maybe go somewhere else.
Right.
Chris Bryant is also a free agent. I think Javi Baez is a free agent.
Okay.
All those Cubs that got traded, I think, were about to be free agents. I think that's why they were traded. Schwarber, free agent. There's a lot of guys. I thought Trey Turner was too. That's why I thought that he was part of that trade. Maybe not. But I don't know. That's just that. There's a lot of guys that can, and lesser guys too. Like I saw like Chris Taylor, I think's a free agent. He had a big postseason because I saw he declined. Like they extended a qualifying offer to him,
right?
Which I think for him was like a 1 year, $18 million contract that he declined.
Yeah,
that you would probably say before the playoffs started. If that were to happen, you probably shouldn't do that. He's a good player, but wasn't having like an amazing season. But then had this amazing playoffs, or at least a small stretch of it, where now it's like, oh, maybe you can get more than that.
Yeah,
he's a versatile player. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, anybody from those Dodgers lineups, right? Because we just see they just go up somewhere and they're superstars, but they're just on the Dodgers, so you can't tell as much.
I would say like Scherzer is probably the big name. I mean,
Scherzer's the big name.
Kershaw. I mean, I know he's not what he used to be, but there's some teams
that's an intriguing, and yeah, there's some teams that could really use a Kershaw,
right? Yeah, just like a veteran, MVP, Cy Young type presence, and some of these teams that just need pitching. Yeah. No, you're not bringing them in necessarily to be the ace of your staff anymore,
right?
But a team that maybe has younger pitching on it, like even like like this past year, like the Astros, if they had like a Kershaw with some young talent on it.
Kershaw is your number what on a World Series winning team?
That's a good question. It depends on the rest of the rotation. I'd probably want him to be talent-wise. I'd probably want him to be like my 3 at the highest.
I was gonna say 3.
But like understanding from a leadership aspect, he's like the ace of the staff.
Right. Yeah, he's the guy, but yeah, as far as like who's going to put up the numbers, who gets the ball in the big game. Right. Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in both pitching staffs and lineups, like everyone being in the spot they're supposed to be in. Like some like a really good pitcher who's not an ace being the ace of a staff, I feel like can be problematic sometimes. And then when that staff then gets an actual ace and you slide everyone back into their real spot, I think that I'm a big believer that helps out the staff. Same with lineup. You got a guy who's a really good player, but he's not your typical cleanup hitter or 3-hole guy. But you get a couple guys now. He's in that 5-6 hole,
right?
Like that. That just makes your whole lineup better.
Yeah, I think you made that point to me with Hosmer. One time back when he first came to San Diego, I think was kind of like I think. Even Hosmer might tell you that, like, it's a better team if he's like a 5-6.
Right.
And this is we're talking about more prime Hosmer than now, but like, there's just some guy that great players, great pitchers, but they're not the guy, and they need somebody to be that so they can kind of like be great in their role.
Yeah. But I would say, So I don't know. Just there's for me a lot of intrigue of where these guys are going to go.
Yeah. Do you have any? I mean, you don't have any predictions.
Well, I don't have any sources, so I don't know. But I think there's a lot of play. What I hope is because some of these guys are a little bit older, a little bit past their prime, and it does kind of remind me like when Madison Bumgarner was a free agent and he was going to leave the Giants, and it was like, hey, I know he's kind of past his prime, but I mean that's a guy you want, in big games. Like there's some teams you could go to where this could be a big deal. He chose the Diamondbacks, and nothing against the Diamondbacks, but it was like, oh, that's not really going to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of hope that like Kershaw or Scherzer or Verlander don't go to those types of situations. Like if one of those guys went to, you know, one of these teams, you know, in the past year or two that's been in contention, the Yankees or you know the Red Sox get a guy, or the Astros we talked about, who still are going to have a good lineup no matter what. They could add some pitching to it. The Angels, you know, like I don't know, like if Scherzer went to the Angels, you would like you'd be like that's kind of cool.
That's a fun team.
Well, it's just like that's kind of the thing they've been missing. They haven't had really great starting pitching.
Yeah,
they've got a decently good lineup, at least top heavy. They have some of the best guys in all the game, but like they haven't really been able to have like a good staff.
Right. Do you think?
They have money
at this point, right? It's like, well, it's like at what point are we just gonna say like it's just not gonna happen? Like, do they have to do it this year?
So they have to do, and ultimately, like them. If, let's say they sign Scherzer, like I'm still not like that alone. I'm like, okay, now they're a contender.
Yeah, but I'm just saying at what point? Because it's like I'm not saying I'm not saying it's World Series or bust next year. I'm just saying like at what point do you fix the thing that's been a problem for since you signed Pujols?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's harder to do. It's easier said than done.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar to what I was talking about with the Tigers thing. Is like it kind of takes the first person to be like, okay, because like we were saying, like if you're a top guy, if you're I know they went after Garrett Cole, when he was a free agent. Like if you're a top guy and you're going, okay, I want to win. Also, me alone going there probably doesn't get us to win. Me and another guy or another two guys maybe. And if I go there, will that become more of an attractive place to go? But yeah, being the first one to commit. And I think that's kind of what Pujols was maybe doing at the time. He's like, hey, like me going there is going to be more of an attractive place for guys to go. Me and a young Trout, and we'll start piecing it together. And I think at that time they did try to kind of go after guys and throw money at guys, and it just didn't quite work out.
Never really quite clicked.
So you got to get the right people. But from my understanding is they're trying. Like I don't think it's an aspect of like they're not trying to sign guys or go after guys. Like I think it's like nobody's choosing them.
Yeah.
My understanding was it kind of was the Angels or the Yankees for Garrett Cole, and he chose the Yankees.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're the Angels, you're like, oh, I mean, we tried. Maybe you didn't offer enough money, but my understanding is they're trying to get these guys.
Yeah. Nobody's trying to suck, right?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, some teams are like, we just can't afford those guys.
Yeah.
Like the Rays would love to have Max Scherzer. They're just not really in a position to do that.
That's not how they. Yeah, that's not how they do things.
Yeah.
They grow just all guys who throw 102.
Yeah. That is a requirement to play that organization.
Yeah. Well, just like the amount of, and it's I don't know. It just seems like they just like. We pull them up whenever, right? Like it's not like I don't know. It's one thing to have a Scherzer, right? It's another thing to just be able to just like grab guys from AAA, to pitch for you in the playoffs.
They're one of the best run organizations in all of baseball. I don't think that's a hot take, but it's very cool to see, and also from a pitcher who's not like that standpoint, it's frustrating at times. It's like I wouldn't be able to play that organization, it feels like. Do you have any places of like some of the guys where you'd like to see them go here or go there, or like you think like it could shift kind of the who are the contending teams?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'll just to answer the question, but I'll try to think of something. I'm interested. I'm interested to see where. I'm interested to see where Chris Bryant ends up. Okay. Interested to see what the Giants do.
But you don't have like, I'd like to see him go here.
Yeah. What if this is just a purely what if? I have no idea if like any like teams are in position to do this. Like if Seager went to San Francisco.
Which one? Corey.
Well, they still have.
Play where?
Don't they still have Crawford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Who just retired from?
Posey,
yeah.
I don't think you want Corey Seager catching.
No, you don't.
Also, I mean, but that one just alone would. I mean, a big time Dodger free agent go to the Giants, that would be a
Yeah,
big deal.
I was thinking that'd be wild, but yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense if you still have Crawford.
Right. I'll tell you, one of the rumored places I saw it with Chris Bryant was the Mets.
Yeah,
And the Mets were interested, and I was thinking, I don't know if that meant that then they wouldn't re-sign Javi Baez or whatnot, but I was thinking like Pete Alonso, Javi Baez, Francisco Lindor, Chris Bryant.
it's a cool infield.
Pretty cool. That's an exciting infield.
Yeah, those.
And my
Braves,
criticism of the Mets like lineup in general is they're not exciting.
Yeah,
But I was like that'd be pretty exciting.
It'd raise some eyebrows.
Yeah,
those Mets Braves games.
yeah,
Pretty dope.
and I mean Phillies also in that division.
Yeah.
The
NL East is not.
Yeah,
not
there's
too
some fire.
shabby.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna sign, but that was one of the places I saw.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Chris Bryant gets, where he goes.
Yeah.
He's not old, but he's not young.
Right. He's also guys like that who, just being honest, hasn't been like the most consistent since his MVP season.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it is age and how many years. And the other part of it is like, well, how do we value?
Yeah,
it's a little streaky. He kind of goes up and down.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Or like, do you think they stay in the NL?
Who, like Chris Bryant?
I'd say those Cubs guys that are the Baez, Bryant, Schwarber. I guess Schwarber was in Boston.
Yeah, Schwarber does feel to me, even though he wasn't the DH in Boston, he's always felt more of an American League player.
Right.
I mean, they had him playing first, and because JD Martinez, one of them is going to have to play that you'd rather
somebody has to play.
You don't really want to play the field.
Yeah.
But I did see, it did seem like a good marriage between Schwarber and the Red Sox for him to stay there. It seemed mutual that they wanted to make that work.
Yeah.
If Schwarber's not going to become a full-time first baseman, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like besides any of the stuff that we're talking about, like anything that matters, just Schwarber is supposed to be in Boston.
Yeah, it does seem it is a good fit.
Yeah.
I did see a rumor that the Yankees were trying to maybe go after Carlos Correa, and I mean that is one where that I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Who was Glaber?
I feel like I guess LeMahieu plays second. Cause I thought Glaber was playing second.
Yeah.
I guess Glaber plays short.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be exciting.
Yeah.
They don't. What is it? What's with the Yankees and lefties? Like they don't. Well, I guess they have Gallo and Rizzo.
Well, Rizzo's a free agent too, so
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying these people are free agents. My understanding was that's why the Cubs got rid of all those guys.
Is Story a free agent?
Yes, that's another one.
That'd be a big one.
And I've already seen you. I feel bad for Rockies, man. Like every time I feel like they become free agents, like, well, are they good outside of Colorado? And it kind of played LeMahieu for a while. I still feel like LeMahieu hasn't quite been thought of as I think of him as one of like the better hitters in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And he's been a free agent now twice in the past like few years, and both times it seems like teams like, I don't know. He's like a Gold Glove second baseman. He like leads the league in hitting. It's like 30 home runs a year, but it's like, but he does it in Colorado, and then now even like in Yankee Stadium's a hitter's ballpark. I'm like, these guys hit homers on the road too.
Yeah. No, I mean, Yankees. Some of those home runs are ridiculous.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like, I had that story of when I was in Low A against Hickory. They had like they set the record for most home runs for a team. Right. It had Gallo, it had Ryan Rua, had Nick Williams, Jorge Alfaro, Nomar Mazaro. Like they were just fucking stacked. And they all hit home runs. And in Hickory was like the biggest hitter's ballpark.
Yeah.
And we faced in there, and they all hit like 10 home runs in the series. It was a joke. And everyone was like, yeah, but wait till they come to our ballpark. That's a pitcher's ballpark.
Right.
They still hit home runs at our ballpark. Yeah. So just saying, I don't know. I definitely believe in that. I've definitely played in hitters' ballparks and pitchers' ballparks, and there's a difference. But some guys do have the ability to just hit it out anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think they do keep stats now. Now it's one of the things they can see on every home run. Like, would it have been a home run in every stadium? Like they can do that. But yeah, I did see with the Trevor Story thing. It was like, similar to, it seems like most Colorado Rockies players that are now going to go elsewhere. Some people are like, I don't know if he'll be able to do it, at our place.
Yeah. Do pitchers get like the opposite of that? Like because I know Rockies don't usually hang on to pitchers for very long. Do
No,
do
free agent
pitchers
pitchers don't seem to go there.
I'm just saying, like if a guy shoves in Colorado, is he like considered? Should he be in line for the Cy Young just because
you think so?
He did it, and
definitely. I think for the most part, it obviously happened. I think it hasn't happened that often. Where there has been someone that
right.
I remember, like Ubaldo Jimenez when we were growing up,
right.
had like a great like first half of the year they went to the World Series. I think in 2007. I think he didn't quite have the best second half, but for the longest time, I was like, well, there's your Cy Young. Yeah. I mean, he's doing this, and I don't even care what the other guys are doing. You know, like he was. I think he kind of fell off a little bit, and then I think John Gray, like a few years ago, was really. I think he finished near the top of the Cy Young. He didn't win it, but I don't think they've had a lot of premier.
When you played in Mexico, you played at elevation, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience for you? Did you
not the most fun? Because I think we counted there was 6 or 7 ballparks in the Mexico League that are at least 1,000 feet higher above elevation than Colorado.
Right.
So like
wow,
that much more, obviously, and there's a lot of what feels like cheap home runs. There's a lot of I also felt it in like just my physical shape.
I was just gonna say, like I feel like the baseball stuff I think is I believe in it, right? But the just like the conditioning aspect to it, I feel like it's a big deal.
When I was in Puebla, I don't understand why they did this because I think they were the highest elevation team. Okay. And the clubhouse was it was a nice clubhouse, but like. It was big. You walk in, there's a bunch of different stuff, but like the actual locker room is like up top, and there's this like kind of long staircase to get up top, and like for a little bit, like every time I'd walk up and down the staircase, I would be like felt like a little out of breath almost, and listen, I'm not like the most in shape person. I think I'm in pretty good shape, but like some of the guys there were like, no, that's the real thing that we all talk about and everyone struggles with. It takes like a week or two almost to get just used to that. Just like, and you'd be people like, we talked about pitchers like during a game, like they'll take breaks and go into the clubhouse, and like people are like, I don't want to walk up those stairs. I don't have to go all the way. It was just from the dugout to the locker room was just a long walk.
It was a workout
and a lot of stairs that I don't know if normally would be, but I did feel, I don't know if it was extra because of the elevation.
Yeah, I think the only place that I know was like higher elevation was Colorado Springs. I remember like running down a ball in BP, like in the outfield, and being just gassed.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, like, you can't breathe out here. And just like, on a day-to-day basis, that would take a lot out of you. I know I've heard people talk about like Colorado, they, like traveling and stuff, and like they have to manage like when they how much they get out on the field and like actually do, or like they do all their stuff on the road, because doing it at home is too much.
I remember there was now that I remember, I think it was a Steelers player. It was a year where the Steelers were playing the Broncos in the playoffs. Like he couldn't play in the game.
Yeah, that was like he had like sickle cell trait.
Right, but I'm saying that's the only place he couldn't play.
Right,
like that. Right. Yeah, that was a huge deal. It was a starting player that was like, it was he wouldn't be able to play here.
Yeah, they got to do something like instead of domes, like it's got to be like underground. Just to get to sea level, so everybody can play.
That would be kind of funny. So would you say though that you do believe or you support kind of the I don't want to call them criticism, but guys like Trevor Story and Rockies players when they become free agents, like even Arenado for a little bit, like some people thought maybe that's why he didn't win the MVP. A year or two was just like you didn't quite get the credit. And my issue with that was always like, I understand Colorado was the highest elevation, but like statistically they weren't like so much more above certain other stadiums when it came to home runs. Like the Yankee Stadium is a huge hitter's ballpark. I think like statistically Philadelphia is one of the biggest hitter's ball. I think Baltimore is also they have like the most home runs.
Right. It's not like there's just like one hitter's ballpark and the rest of them are just all pitcher friendly.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think like anything, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you factor it in. I believe in it as a real, like, it has an effect on numbers and all that stuff. But like, you also just watch the person play.
Right. Yeah, I guess I've always said that stuff was just a little blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Like I saw for years with the Padres, where it's like they had to move the fence in, which was probably good, but it's like, yeah, not a lot of home runs are hit here. And I'm like, the visiting teams seem to hit home runs though,
Right.
Like maybe you just don't have home run hitters, Like that could also be it too,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw Pujols come here for years and hit home runs, and
Right.
there's just a lot of home run hitters that seem to hit home runs in every stadium they
Or
go to.
yeah, or maybe you figure out how to win baseball games,
Right.
As a team that doesn't lead the league in home runs, because
Right.
or you move your fences in.
Right. Which is what some teams do.
Yeah.
So the Padres, I think the Giants did that too. And I mean, they hit more home runs this year.
Do you think we'll ever like get to a time where people start moving the fences back? Like there's
No. Absolutely not.
like we need more running around.
I don't
baseball.
think there's going to be another time in baseball where any move is made to increase the chances of less offense. Like, I think every move from here on out is going to pretty much be, how can we get more offense?
Right.
I don't think there's ever going to be a time where it's like, okay, that's enough.
Well, so like there was like in the book I just finished reading, the Buck O'Neill one. There was something where he was talking about his favorite play in baseball is the triple, because like, home run's cool, but the triples were the most exciting play. Everybody's running around somewhere, So like I'm just thinking like, yeah, I mean, still in the interest of offense, but just like a different kind of offense. Like if you just
Well, I kind of think that's the thing with Colorado is their fence are moved back and while they get a lot of home runs, they get more like doubles and triples because the alleys are so deep.
Yeah, and base hits because there's just more real estate in the outfield. Like, yeah.
Are you do you agree with that the triple is the most exciting play in baseball?
I mean, like as a hitter, I personally prefer a home run.
Right.
Right. I don't have to run as much, but like, yeah, like if you're sitting around watching a baseball game, like like in a big moment, right? Like if I have to choose the way for like the go ahead run to come in the bottom of the eighth, like I'd be like base clearing triple.
Really?
Would probably be.
I don't think a triple is more exciting than a home run, but I also think it's interesting because I play with a lot of guys that specifically don't like hitting triples.
Yeah,
and will specifically stop.
Can't lead the league in doubles hitting triples.
Right. I've heard that a lot. Now I know a triple helps with the OPS more. But I have a lot of guys who are like, no, I'd rather just stop at second and get a double. It looks better to lead the league in doubles.
It looks way better. Like if you like. You would much rather have 20 doubles and no triples than 19 doubles and one triple. Like 20 doubles sounds so much better.
We're just leading the league in doubles. It's like that's a big thing.
Yeah, good hitters hit doubles.
Right.
Like guys who rake hit doubles. Like some people hit a lot of home runs. Some fast guys will get a bunch of triples, but like guys who rake hit doubles.
Yeah. I remember when I was at the Orioles and Machado. So the Orioles, the talk was because I think he led the league and he was a big doubles guy also with the Orioles. I think he even led the league in doubles, and I think it was like joking around, but there was always like chatter like, yeah, he's like he could get triples on some of these, but he's like, no, like I want to lead the league in double.
Yeah, right.
Like how does that really? It's just not that much of a difference. Yeah. Obviously, if it's like a tie game in the eighth, you're obviously going for the triple, no outs, type of thing. But like, yeah, if it's one of those where like. There'll be a bang bang play at third. I'm gonna stop at second. I'm gonna take my double.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, I had a teammate when I was in the GCL, was like he was a Venezuelan guy, and he was like, yeah, like we were talking about pimping home runs, and he was like, like when I hit the ball well, I'm either gonna be jogging all the way around the bases, or I'm gonna or it's going to be a double, but they don't pay me to hit triples. So like, right. So like, why would I run out of the box real quick? Because yeah. There's a certain guy that wants the triple.
Fair enough. All right. I think we have to stop this a little bit shorter because obviously when this episode comes out, it'll be afterwards. But big Monday night football game for my 49ers.
That's
tonight.
right. That's right.
So we're getting close to.
We're at like 45.
We're getting close to that. You know, I gotta start mentally preparing for that. You know, it's a big game. You know, the season comes down to tonight, and then the season comes down to next week as well, and it just keeps coming down to every game.
Yeah. How long have you been in survival mode as a fan this season?
Honestly, like I would joke around with like since their first loss.
Really?
No, I would say the last like few weeks.
Yeah.
It's felt like, you know, you need this win. You know, because as the season goes on, you start like seeing, okay, these teams are the ones you're in contention with. For the Niners, the division's no chance. The division's over. It's a Arizona Cardinals versus Rams race at this point for the division. But there's still chances for the wild card, which is still good. So you start seeing all those teams, and like it's just funny because like, yeah, if they win, then you feel like you got to win. Mm-hmm. And even if they lose, you feel like, well, now's our chance to gain a game, so we got to win. So like there was like last week they played the Cardinals without Kyler Murray, which I think most people would say the Cardinals are not anywhere close to as good of a team, obviously, without their quarterback at home, and like all the other teams they're in contention with all lost because they were playing like after them. Like this is a huge game. One, it's a division game. It's a game they should win, and it's a chance to gain a game. And then they lost, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, so they're they're in the same position that they started today, but it's like it did feel like you're like, damn, but we missed a real good opportunity to gain a game. So that's how I look. Yeah, it's the last like few weeks. It seems like every game is that feeling of like, gotta win this game.
Yeah,
you gotta win this game.
Yeah.
So I would say that again about the Rams game.
I'll be rooting for you, man.
Also because they have not won a home game in like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's like one of the weirdest things. Well, partly is last year during COVID, they had to play like the last 3 home games in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
They got kicked out of. Not kicked out of, but they weren't going to be able to play there, so they had to leave. Yeah. But they have not won in Levi Stadium in like since the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I don't know the exact record, but it's like, so that's another one where it's like a home game, division opponent. It's like you need a win, and you kind of need to, hey man, this is our house.
Right.
You know,
right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And because they got embarrassed last week at home against Arizona. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, if you get embarrassed again, while ultimately the Rams are a much better team than the Niners and kind of should dominate them, but it is kind of like, yeah, you get dominated again by a division opponent at home.
Yeah.
We need to start having some conversations about some changes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. Like when things go bad in sports, at some point somebody's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know?
At some point, like, yeah, it doesn't matter like if it's whose fault it is, like what we have a plan in place for this, it doesn't really matter. At some point, heads have to roll, changes have to be made.
Right. There's never really a team that has a terrible season and just nothing changes. It's like usually someone's paying for this. Not always the head guy. It's not always the head coach or the GM. Like sometimes it's a position coach or, a reshuffling of people. But it's somebody. Yeah, we're making changes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's not always for the better.
Right.
But the change, like there will be a change.
Right. But I think what's interesting about like the 49ers is, they're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl when everything was going great and everyone got like contract extensions, and like they're building some. And just like a year later or a year and a half later, it does feel like it's time to start turning this around, or we're gonna be, things are gonna look different around here. Yeah. That's I would guess that's kind of what happens. But yeah, so
real big game.
Yeah, I think it's a big game. It's a big, any division game, is a big game. But Monday night, the whole world's watching. Mm-hmm. Whole world minus D-Wash, but the whole world is watching. Those games, also the standalone games, I think are a little bit more because now everyone sees like if you lay an egg on Monday night, Sunday night game, the Thursday night game, one of these primetime games, it does seem to hurt a little bit more.
It's a little different.
Yeah. So, yeah. With that being said, I gotta start mentally preparing for that.
Yeah.
So
we'll cut it short. We'll cut it here. Yeah. And get you going.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys listening to our free agent talk, and I don't even remember what else we talked about.
Well, yeah, and our our what's it called Monday night football preview that you'll hear
Tuesday.
that you'll hear at the earliest Tuesday morning.
Just know when you're listening to this, I'm either very happy or very sad.
Yeah. It'd be great to do like a Bennett's reaction to the Niner game.
I don't think that would be
morning after Bennett.
I don't think that would be great. I need some time to cool off. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening. Do you got anything else?
No, appreciate you.
All right.